Warning. The following nope, that was warning, not morning. It's also the afternoon. The following program contains scenes of graphic stupidity among four lifelong friends who compete to embarrass each other. Nope, that is definitely the wrong intro. Back to script. Warning. The following internship presentation contains scenes of graphic knowledge among four interns who present what they did all summer. I'm Waynesburg alumnus, Washington Wild Things Vice President of Baseball Operations and Broadcaster Kyle Dawson, here to introduce these guys. First up, Logan Lepiscopo, originally from the made-up town of Waldorf and the awful state of Maryland. He spent his summer babbling nonsense, can confirm. Following Logan will be Zach Barat from the fruit-named city of Plum, Pennsylvania. For Zach, he spent his internship doing whatever his boss told him. It's true. Justin Clevenger will present third, coming from a village of Bridgeville, Pennsylvania. All Justin did was stare at a screen all day, make a couple clicks to do his daily tasks. He's going to tell you how cool he is because he's the first ever intern to have his title at his internship location. The final practical intern is Seth Bergdolt. Seth is from Taylor Swift's town of Pennsylvania, Taylorstown, Pennsylvania. He is currently finishing his internship, and I'm told to call him a loser for that. My job here is done. Now it's time to find out if these interns will lie to my face and to you. Logan Lepiscopo is up first.
First of all, I want to thank everybody for coming in to the internship presentations today, and thank you to Kyle for the lovely introductions that I helped him write. But the title of my internship is not 1, 2, or 3. I'm not going to explain that to you now. Don't fall asleep on me. Don't walk out on me. It will be revealed what the title is there for later to wrap up the presentation. But let's talk about what I'll be presenting about today. Obviously, I was the play-by-play intern as listed there for the Washington Wild Things. I sat along Kyle for majority of the home games. Kyle will tell you I skipped one of the home games for a fantasy football draft. I will confirm I did do that, and it was kind of a waste of time because I didn't end up winning the league. But anyway, talk about the goals I had. You already met Kyle, but tell you a little bit more about him and his personality with the Washington Wild Things. My duties, responsibilities, celebrity softball game, which was just a great networking opportunity. Obviously, not every internship can be perfect, so there were some struggles. And then what I learned from my internship overall. Let's start off with the eyes on the prize. My goals for my internship, if you know anything about me, you know that baseball is not my forte. You know, going into this internship, I probably knew the basics. Each position had a number, and that's probably the extent of my knowledge as far as it went. So my main goal was just increase my knowledge on baseball. Second, just become a better overall announcer. Obviously, baseball is not football, it's not basketball, it's not any of the other sports that we have here at Waynesburg, but it just helped overall becoming a better announcer, you know, getting into a rhythm, knowing what goes to what sport. And third, learn the pregame and postgame operations. A lot of people thought, you know, you go in, you announce the games, you prep for the games, you leave. But I know Kyle does a lot more than that, and I learned that he does a lot more than that in my during my internship, so I wanted to learn a little bit more about the pregame and postgame operations. Also, build a friendship with the other interns. If you were here last year, you know there were probably 15 interns that were at the Washington Wild Things. This year, I had just 3 alongside me, Zach, Justin, and Ben Champ back there in the corner filming this for us. I wanted to make sure that I had a connection with all the other interns as well, just due to the fact I didn't have all the people I would usually work with to lean on, to rely on, to talk to. And finally, I want to take what I learned from Washington and apply it here to Waynesburg. So, my advisor, you already met him in the intro, Kyle Dawson. He gave you his titles already. A little backstory to this picture here. As you can see, there are pens scattered on the ground in an empty cup. In the seat is Kyle, and that is his pen cup that he spiked on the ground after the Wild Things blew probably their 15th lead of the season and ended up losing the game. And I did ask permission from Kyle, and he said he would be disappointed if I did not include this picture. So it's been included to show a little bit of his personality, but that's Kyle in a nutshell, pen thrower, and does a lot for the Wild Things, as I'll talk about. And I even did some stuff for him. My duties and responsibilities, I'd show up about 2 or 3 hours early to the games, and I'd fill out my scorecard, and as I said, sometimes Kyle's. It got towards the later half of the season where Kyle would just be running around with his head cut off and just couldn't get to his scorecard, so I'd help him out, fill it out for him. And the reason I have an asterisk next to announce the game is because at the beginning of my internship, a lot of the other interns thought that's all I did. All they thought was, you show up, put the headset on, announce the game, you get out. But in fact, that's not what I did. I did a lot more than that. I helped Kyle take the box scores to the team managers, which sometimes you had to just slide it under the door depending on the result of the game, and even help edit the game highlights from there. I would work with the director directly, Mike Greco, and I would just pull out my scorecard, show him, here's the highlight plays. We'd cut them up, post them on Twitter, Instagram, various social medias, and then any other post-game operations. So whether that be writing a game recap, helping with stuff on the back part of the page, putting in the box score, uploading the recap to the website. I was kind of the guy once Kyle left us for a game. I was kind of the one that took over and had a real good understanding of how to do all that. Celebrity softball game. This was a great networking opportunity for myself. Obviously, there were a ton of celebrities there. Kyle gave us the good old pep talk. No fanboying. That is not allowed here. You are an employee. You are working. You are not a fan. So I took the opportunity when we had a rain delay, went up to Adam Rank, and I just wanted to pick his brain. If you don't know who Adam Rank is, he is an NFL personality. He does predominantly fantasy football stuff. So I got to pick his brain, how he got into the industry, any recommendations he had for me on how to get a jump start. And his biggest tip to me, and I'll remember this, was be good at everything, but pick one thing that you want to be exceptionally good at. So for example, any other announcers out there, you want to be well-rounded, football, baseball, basketball, everything. But if your favorite is basketball, football, baseball, take that and become a quote-unquote expert at that specific thing. And then picture on the other side, myself and Zach, and one of the interns that we got super close with, Alex Marinsky. He goes to Westminster, and that day I pretty much spent all day shooting video for the celebrity softball game. Got to talk to a couple of the players being in the outfield, Connor Hayward, Jaquan Brisker, Miles Sanders. That's just a handful of the people that were there, but I didn't fanboy. I'm not a Steelers fan, so I wasn't drooling out the mouth when Kenny Pickett showed up finally. But again, it was just a great networking experience and being able to talk to somebody that's a professional in the business and in a field that I would like to someday be able to step into. Now the struggles. I know the picture is not probably what you expected to have on this slide, but I'll get into that. First off is money. As the unpaid intern, one of the unpaid interns there, money was definitely something that you kind of had to, be careful with. I had to be able to pay for gas, pay for food outside my one meal I knew I was guaranteed at the ballpark, and any other expenses that might have came up, which leads into feeding myself. I knew I had the one meal guaranteed, but chicken tenders and fries every day was not going to cut it for myself. So I made sure that I was rationing enough, going my Aldi trips, making sure I had enough eggs and everything else to feed myself. 3 is confidence. And this was just solely due to the fact that I wasn't really big into baseball, had not a lot of knowledge in it. So beginning my internship, I didn't find myself really loving it until I started to really, get more reps, which led to, and the Wild things were actually good at the beginning of the season. Not so much towards the end, but that made it a lot more fun, and I learned a lot more about baseball just announcing, doing my own research, so I became more confident in myself when it came to announcing. Missing family events, this one probably hit the hardest for me. July 4th, my family does a big gathering, and obviously July 4th, big baseball day for Washington. They had a game, I had to be there, and I called my family, got to say hello to everybody, because everybody travels from New York, all these other states to come back to Maryland, and I got to miss that, but the unfortunate reality is, as an announcer, you're going to miss those big events. You're going to miss 4th of July's, Thanksgiving's, Christmases, so just something that, sucked in the moment, but ended up, just having to deal with it because this is what I want to do, something you have to learn in the process. And finally, this was more of a joke, moving up 3 floors. I was on the 3rd floor. I got to stay there for half the summer, and then I moved up to the 6th floor, which is actually not so much of a struggle. I got to pick my side of the room, stuck Spencer next to the door for everybody screaming and slamming their doors. And this was the 9-dog, 9-inning challenge that Kyle and I did. This was quite the experience. Kyle ended up dunking his buns in the water and eating the hot dog by itself. Announcing and doing it is not as easy as just sitting at a game and doing it, but that is the 9th and final hot dog pictured there. That was probably the worst experience that I had at my internship, announcing a game. So what did I learn? I learned that, first of all, 9 dogs in 9 innings is not fun. But number one, you can have fun while being effective. Kyle and I, every game, it was not like strictly business. Kyle and I were able to banter with each other, have fun. I would like to say that Kyle and I honestly built a friendship through this rather than him just being my advisor. And that relates back to Waynesburg. We have a lot of fun. We joke around. We poke at each other. And I still think that we do excellent jobs with all of our productions, both in the studio and even the sports network. Baseball, just in general. I learned a lot more about that, more terminology, some of the slang that is used in the sport for broadcasting, which was my main goal going into the internship. And I had to throw this in. I know you guys in the front probably going to call me a suck-up for this one. Kyle does way more than just announce the games. Like I said, Kyle sometimes would show up right when the first pitch happened. Sometimes he'd show up after the first pitch. But, you know, it was just part of the game, and I realized that Kyle, being an intern, does a lot more than just voice the Wild things. He also now has that big upgraded role that he got with the Vice President of Baseball Operations. So that is the biggest takeaway, that just having one title doesn't mean you just do that one thing. And now, to tie everything back together into my title slide, not 1, not 2, not 3, and I'll just roll the clip for you all to watch. I know I wasn't choice 1 or 2 or 3 for that matter, because the other ones had backed out.
Maybe not 1, 2, or 3, but the correct one in the end.
So though it was not my first choice, my second choice or my third choice, or Kyle's first, second, or third choice, I enjoyed my internship. It was a lot of fun. And now I will pose for any questions from the audience. Yes, Ethan.
What is bobblehead?
Next question, please. Any serious, actual questions? Yes, Will.
Do you think you're still going to stay in like the baseball field one way or another after you leave here?
I will say, everybody knows I was a big football fan, and that's what I want to do, but baseball has definitely grown on me, and it would not be something that I would be opposed to going back to. I really enjoyed announcing, and yeah, I mean, hey, if somebody gives me a call, wants me to announce some baseball, I would definitely not turn down that opportunity. Yes, Joey.
If you were to do it again, what would be one thing you would want to change?
One thing I would want to change, honestly, I'd probably say nothing. I think this was the perfect internship for myself. I knew that announcing is what I want to do with my future, and the internships that I thought about potentially getting was not going to grant me that opportunity, but this one did. So I'm very grateful for it, and I definitely will not change anything other than maybe knowing a little bit more about baseball before going into it. You asked a foolish question, so I'm going to Spencer.
Knowing how much fun you had with this internship, if those other 3 internships before this were available, would you still choose this Wild Things one, or would you go on to the other ones?
I'll be honest, probably would have went to another one. I didn't really talk about this to a lot of people because it bummed me out at the end of things, but I got an interview with the NFL for a communications internship there. Unfortunately, I didn't get it, but I'd like to look at it more of a fact that this is where I was meant to be. I was meant to be at the Wild Things. If I was meant for that NFL internship, I would have been there. I would have been out in LA, but no, I definitely enjoyed my time. And if the NFL would have given me the call, I definitely would have been out there, but this was a great internship. I'll give you one final question.
Just what are some things that you found yourself applying to, like WCTV and Lucid now after your internship?
I think the biggest thing I took away was the moments that Kyle wasn't there. And that is because obviously I took on the role as the GM this year, so I needed to, take on some leadership roles. And when Kyle wasn't there, I was kind of, the man in charge of getting all the post-game stuff done. So I think that helped me a lot, being able to be a good leader here and being able to lead my peers, because it wasn't, people older than me. It wasn't people that had a full-time job I was leading after the game. It was people like all of you in here in college looking to get a job in this industry. So I'd say that was probably the biggest moment I applied to here. All right, that's it for me. Next, Zach Barat.